I had no idea what Vietnam was like other than the few YouTube videos I've watched and heard from other people. But these are the things I found out. These are 7 things that surprised me about Vietnam that you should know about. Hi, my name is KB. I make videos about affordable travel around Asia and other countries. If you want to learn more tips and tricks about how to travel more affordably or save money on travel, follow my channel and subscribe. All right, back to Vietnam. One of the most pleasant surprises that caught me off guard in Vietnam was the coffee culture and how good the Vietnamese coffee is and how strong it is compared to the coffee I'm used to drinking in America. Vietnam uses the cafe phe or fin filter to make the Vietnamese coffee, but just around every street corner, you can find little coffee shops, cafes, and even co-working spaces with coffee or big coffee chains. You can just get a coffee on the street stand for about 50 cents to $1, or you can go to a cafe and get a nice Vietnamese coffee for $1 or two. Or if you want to go to a Western chain, there's also chains like that. You can pay about $3 to $5 for a fancy Western chain coffee. But honestly, anywhere you get Vietnamese coffee, it's been absolutely delicious and super strong. It was kind of shock to my system first when I first started drinking Vietnamese coffee here, how strong and caffeinated it was. So if you're not used to it, it might give you a little bit of jitters at first, but the coffee is amazing. In fact, I took a coffee making class in Vietnam. That's how much I love the Vietnamese coffee. There is regular Vietnamese fin coffee, there's milk coffee, there's coconut coffee, there's egg coffee, and there's salt coffee. It's just, you have to try them all. They're all amazing. Coffee culture is everywhere in Vietnam, and that's one of the lifestyle things you can experience here. Number two, the thing that I was not ready for was the scooter traffic. Oh my goodness. Until I was boots on the ground here, I did not know how intense the scooter traffic is, especially in a place like Hanoi was just a sea of scooters passing by and you had to wait for the traffic light to change just so you can cross the street or you can't get through. In a place like Da Nang, it's a little bit less traffic. And when you're crossing the street, you just kind of have to keep walking unless you have a light, that traffic light that coordinates. Places where you don't have a traffic light, you just kind of have to watch for it and start walking very slowly and steady, intentionally, and you don't stop in the middle of the road. You just keep walking. And if you stop, then you might cause an accident because the scooters are not going to know, or the cars are not going to know what to do when you stop in the middle of the road. So just keep walking at a steady pace. Don't run. Don't do anything rash. And they will literally ride around you. They will adjust their speed. They will adjust their scooter to get around you as you're walking and crossing the street. That was a little bit scary, but honestly, after several weeks, it got a little bit easier. But from time to time, I'm still like, oh my gosh, what if they don't see me? What if they don't notice? Anyway, so the scooter traffic, I was not ready for that, but I'm getting used to it. Number three, biggest surprise that I've had was how cheap and fresh the seafood was here. Usually in the US, seafood is quite pricey and you can only get it fresh if you go to certain like coastal places. But in Vietnam, you can pretty much get fresh seafood at a very, very affordable price. Everywhere you go, there is seafood buffets, there's seafood restaurants, and seafood market just down the street. Where I was staying in Da Nang, there is a seafood market where you can just pick out live seafood right there in the, the glass container in the water, and you can just pick out and take it home and cook it up. Or they can cook it for you at the restaurant. So seafood is everywhere and they're very affordable. If you're a seafood lover, you're going to love Vietnam. Number four, the best thing about Vietnam is how friendly the people are, how nice they are, how respectful they are. The families would go to the beach or sit down and eat at a restaurant or a spot down the street. Everybody's just hanging out, especially after work. There's a whole culture of family and gathering together, eating together, hanging out, spending time together. And you don't see that very much in the US because people are busy and working and schedule is tight, and busy all the time. And so because of how friendly and family centered the culture is, people prioritize spending time together, relaxing, eating together, hanging out. And you can see that everywhere you go, people just hanging out as a family or friends, going to the beach, going to the restaurant, just sitting outside, down the street from their favorite places to get a drink, get a food, get a bite. This is really family oriented and filled with people who are very friendly. So that's a thing that was very different than the US that I didn't expect. Number 5 is affordable massages and different activities. I get a massage about every week while I'm in Vietnam, and it's very affordable. You can get a massages as cheap as $5 to $20 a piece for an hour, hour and a half. And also activities. I went to a new movie release in Da Nang, and it was so affordable for two people for a brand new release at the same time it's being released in the US. And we got drinks and popcorns and snacks and a whole bunch of other things. And it was less than $20 for two people. When was the last time in the US that you went to the movies for two people and got drinks and popcorns and snacks and a bunch of things, and it was less than $20? It's almost like that's the price of one person, depending on what time you go. So activities are very affordable. Different activities we've done here has been super, super affordable, going on a boat ride, even going on a cruise and visiting different places. Very, very affordable. But my favorite is, of course, the massages. And in the US, if you were to get a massage, it would be anywhere from $80 to $150 on an average place for 1 hour for one person. Compare that to the Vietnamese massages you can get for $5 to $15 per person. All right, number 6 is the thing that surprised me is how walkable the cities are, the places are. You can just, depending on where you're staying, most cities like Da Nang, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, all the big cities, and even some of the smaller towns, you can just walk to everything. And it really matters where you book your accommodation. But if you book it close to everything within walking distance, you can pretty much walk everywhere. And that is something I really miss in the US is I live in the Midwest where you need a car to go everywhere and everything's connected by a highway and not much of a walkable street. You can't walk like 10 miles a day to the store or 5 miles to the next grocery store or to work. So car is very needed depending on where you live in the US or other countries. But in Vietnam, everywhere is walkable. There's public transportation in most big cities as well. But pretty much like places like Da Nang, I've just walked everywhere unless it's really far or I was in a rush, then I get a grab. Okay, the 7th and the last thing I wish I knew about Vietnam that surprised me was how affordable the healthcare was. Last year, I had some dental work done in another country that was a lot more expensive, and I could have done it for like 1/4 of the price here in Vietnam, where they have highly educated, highly skilled doctors and healthcare professionals. They pretty much have the same industry equipments and tools and things like that, computer systems, and they can do it a lot cheaper over here. A lot of people ask about traveling. Hey, what do you do for healthcare? Do you have an insurance? Yes, you can get travel insurance through different companies for catastrophic care, things like that. If something really bad happens where you need to go back to your country, you can get travel insurance. But honestly, for regular healthcare and maintenance stuff, you can go to an urgent care. I haven't gone to a doctor in Vietnam, but I've been to other Asian countries, and they were very affordable to urgent care and even hospital visits and tests and treatments and surgeries and other things. I might make another video about my medical experience in Asia and how much it cost me and what it was like. But for this one, if you're looking for dental care, looking for any kind of health-related issues or checkups and blood labs and different things like that, anywhere you need, especially if you're in more of a larger cities, they have amazing healthcare in Vietnam, and cost is probably many times less than what you would pay in America or other countries. So you don't have to worry about if you have to do something on the road while you're traveling to Vietnam, or if you're an expat and living in Vietnam, you know how affordable they are. But if you're looking to move to Vietnam, do your research. It's a lot more affordable, and the doctors are skilled, and a lot of the hospitals that cater towards expats and tourists, medical tourism is a thing here, and they have English-speaking doctors and English-speaking staff on the location, and they will have translators for you. You don't have to worry about language barrier and things like that, and it is a lot easier than you think. So that's the thing that surprised me. I wish I knew about the medical care, dental care, and how affordable it was in Vietnam before I had all that work done at a different country, but I didn't know at the time, but I found out once I moved to Vietnam. So these are the 7 things that surprised me about Vietnam. And if you're thinking about even taking a short trip to Vietnam or thinking about relocating to Vietnam, you should consider these things and also do your research and watch other videos like this. That's what I done before I traveled anywhere, is just binge watch all the videos about that country from other people who were traveling before me, and did my research and made my selection. So thank you for watching till the very end. If you like videos about budget travel and saving money on travel, whether you're making a 2-week trip to Vietnam or 2 months trip to Vietnam, or even relocating there, moving there for 2 years or more, subscribe to my channel. I make videos about budget travel and how to make travel more affordable and tips and tricks for budget travelers. See you in the next video.